Ladies and gentlemen, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. A. Willis M. and Maximus C. ain't been around much lately, but am today. That's a good point. Dr. Henry Sr., Arucado, Sammy, Austin Richards, Christian, Chaz, Rickety Hermit, and Loki Kitten. How's it going, guys? What's up? We got Professor Meatball down here. Oh, yeah. And we are here to guys that it's another beautiful day with a early morning down testing the support that we're going to have for the rest of the day. 43.57 for AMC. Don't forget GME was down close to 5% earlier, down to 193, past the 200 mental barrier, and yet still returned back to its early highs at 213.49, currently just a dollar on that. But we're going to talk to you about why these patterns are bullish, why these rockets are still lighting up across the entire stock market. It's not green all the way over, and yet it's a good day. It's a good day to be an ape. Make sure my gain is high. How's it going? Make sure that I'm right here. Let's go, smoking or joking. Good morning. Long time no see. What's up? Mark Baptiste, says Andrew and Professor Meatball back in the scene. Fully fools shaking in their boots. I love it. I love it. Love to be here with you guys. Let me make sure that this is here. Welcome back, Mo Money. How's it going? LFG. What's up, Chip Son? We actually have a early morning right here, the very minute candle that we were showed up. We went from 46.26 on AMC, about 4% up, to the next level of resistance, 47.69, and tested it twice now. This level of resistance at 47.86, something that we put there a couple of weeks ago because we haven't seen this price action for a good long time. AMC might be testing $50 later today. That's right, as early as later today. Jorge, what's going on? We already have some Jim Cramers coming in and telling us some poopy news. Hilarious. Well, that is from CNBC from about 20 minutes ago. It's very hot news I want to be able to share with you guys. What exactly is Mr. Let's call him Mr. Frowny. What is Jim Cramer saying about the Delta variant?
Explain in a phrase what happened to GME and AMC and costs yesterday.
Well, first, GME is, when you look at the categories that sold well in Best Buy, you start thinking, wait a second. This is going to translate to GME sales. I think that's absolutely true. AMC is a tougher call because the Delta variant does not make me feel like going to the movies. But there's people going. The box office, David, there's box office. Yeah. Neo's back, David. Back? Yeah.
Back?
Box office. Yeah. The names are doing well. By the way, AMC does not take Apple Pay in New York City, let alone crypto.
Not anywhere near where we were pre-pandemic.
No. But AMC's got staying power.
We know it's got staying power. It's also got, almost a $20 billion market value.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Mark Baptiste.
What's that to do with
Nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with what the stock is doing. You're right.
So young, so naive.
Jeez, David.
I know.
What are you doing? I was born
Yesterday.
at night, but not last night. Who said that first?
I don't know.
Well, who had the greatest line ever on Squawk on the Street?
Greg Hayes.
Boom.
I think they forgot that this video is about AMC and GME. What's going on? Let me see if my volume's a little bit better. Let me see if I can just turn it up. Turn up the volume on the back. Gain on. What's up, BTS Sandwich? How's it going? Oh, man. Airborne Jet says that people know brick and mortar ain't leaving. And apes ain't leaving. What's up, Trina? Good morning. Moon Platoon says Jose Lita Juarez and Professor Andrew and Meatball was up ripping apes. Hashtag AMC. Look at this. GameStop up to 4.8%, AMC up to 7.5%. The rippage cannot stop. Amazing, even as the bears come through, like the gym. So make sure that you guys understand this is what mainstream media is trying to flood the zeitgeist with right now today, which is that, hey, everything that was good for AMC and GME is a catalyst that you should actually think of as a dead cat bounce. It's all dangerous. It's all bad. The market, sure.
Greg Hayes said that to me.
Ain't gonna happen.
When he was asked about, I asked him about the tweets that the former president was doing, attacking us. He was kind of discussing how he handled that.
I do remember that.
What's up, Jessa?
Interesting note out of B of A this morning about financials, Jim. Surpassing tech in dollar amount buyback year to date. Their records back to 2010 show that the sector with the biggest dollar amount in buybacks tends to outperform over the next several months. So they're bullish on financials.
Yeah, they are. The financials actually have, look at the multiples. JP Morgan only has 14 multiples. Goldman Sachs still at 8. But when you look at the tech multiples, you really have to question why they should buy back a lot of stock when they're selling at such high levels. So I think that financials are ripe for buybacks because, I mean, look at Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley's now an advisory company. And
Yes, a lot of assets under management. Yeah.
By the way, Meg Terrell saying, listen, don't forget yesterday Fauci said people should get the Regeneron. I'm not talking about, I'm saying that the actual, it's kind of like emergency use versus whatever. They need to make.
I think he still forgot about, this is the video about AMC and GME. This is Jim Cramer talking about whether or not positive catalysts that have to push AMC and GME these past few days are actually scary dead cat bounce catalysts because of the Delta variant. So we're going to talk very briefly about exactly what he's even trying to do and why 23.6% of that January retracement is about to be broken on. $133 is that orange line right next to Meatball head, cartoon Meatball, and regular Meatball right. Is really happy that you guys came through. Guys, remember, if you guys want more streams, only way is to be able to try and defeat that algorithm like early. That's it. Not going to mention it until those ducks show up in about minutes. So in that sense, make sure that you guys do so that the YouTube algorithm
make the Regeneron. I don't mean to just, I'm going to go right back to financials, but they need to make Regeneron to have the regular use like they did for Pfizer.
Okay, let me make sure that I can actually. Let me make sure that the gate is all the way up. Sorry about that.
I look at when I saw JP Morgan at 14 times earnings, I said, does that really deserve to have such a low multiple, given the amount of cash it has? Bank of America, if you think rates are going to go higher, which I think they may, what a great steal. Why not buy back stock? They all have way too much capital. Versus, let's say, Facebook does buyback, but Facebook's higher multiple. But Apple higher multiple. Apple today totally sagging.
And we're going to talk to Rod Hall later on this morning.
Rod Hall?
Yes, in the 10 a.m. from Goldman, who has been stubbornly neutral on the name.
Let me know if that audio is better.
That's there's some people who were negative on Palo Alto.
That didn't work out too well for them.
No, that's just a mistake there. Ill-advised strategy. Well, look, Rod Hall, what does it matter? If you're neutral, that gives you the optionality to speak incorrectly about Apple because you don't know it. No, just kidding. Rod Hall's a very smart guy, but who would have thought Apple would go on? Who would have thought?
There's a good note out of Burn.
Who would have thought? Apple already starting to leak certain information about a potential new phone, right? And we're talking about what happens around this time roughly every year. A bounce from 145. Right now, it is coming back to its EMA. So Apple, whether or not that's going to be a bounce in a few days, if not hours, we'll find out soon. All right, back to AMC. And now that video that is titled, once again, reminder, Delta variant could put a damper on AMC shares. He does not talk about that even for 30 seconds in this video. Guess this is much better. Glad to hear it. Crypto seeing a cultural shift. Boosting single shot COVID-19 vaccine. That's Johnson & Johnson. Remember, that is one of the major catalysts for why AMC is up so much so quickly. All right. I remember the summer Meatball siesta days. Remember when we were young? This looks like a George W. It looks like a double bottom down at the 43.36 levels, which is great. 48.30 is now the high of AMC. I think that broke nearly 10%. 48 bucks. We closed yesterday at 44. Yeah. That's 10%, baby. We just reached 10% of 48.30. Now rejected past the simple moving average, coming down to the VWAP. That orange line here, the volumetric weighted average price. What's up, Liberty Holdings? Aw. What's up, Andy A? Wow, people coming in with those badges. Look at those gold badges they got. Paul Ruiz and Andy A have been members of the Moon Platoon for so long. They got gold Meatball coin badges. Beautiful. Race Fuel 76 is, yo, missed your bell to bell streams. Happy to see you today, boss. Aw, you know, I'm glad to be here. You guys made it clear. You guys made it absolutely clear. JLP, the AMC shares of several retail trading darlings surged in heavy volume late on Tuesday, dealing over $1 billion in losses to short sellers. Don't forget, $1 billion. Shorts lose $1 billion. Where will AMC and GME go to today? That's some fire news right here. I love to hear that. Germany, says Leaf Style. Let's see. Yeah, that volume from yesterday, absolutely insane. We're already getting closer to 100 million right now, and it's only been about an hour and change in the market. Yeah, not that much time has passed, and a ton of volume has gone through. Is this a FOMO spike today? Could very well likely be, because you know for a fact, you guys already have a good understanding of the market, connecting the dots a little slowly, being able to jump on the boat a little later, and that's essentially how the people who have a little bit more information are able to make all the money. That's the point. A little bit more data. That's the point. As long as it is not coordinated, as long as it's not insider trading, as long as you are following the rules, a little extra data is everything when it comes to the market, which is why this channel focuses on getting you that data. Oh, what's up, Rochelle? Been missing your videos. Aw, I've still been uploading daily, but I'm glad to be here on a live stream. Yo, Christopher Katsev, how's it going? Oh man, higher than Bezos' rocket. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the rocket moving. Oh, Sandy Woolard, glad to be here. No Revolution 105 says hit that like, buddies. Just the thing, okay? Make that like counter equal the number of people in here. That's the thing that makes the math beautiful. All right, J&J. Johnson & Johnson says data supports, remember data, a single-shot COVID-19 vaccine.
Breaking
and that,
news from Johnson & Johnson on...
That's likely going to change a lot of stuff in the AMC space.
Good morning, Joe. Johnson & Johnson out with a press release saying that it has given a booster dose in a small trial 6 months after the first single shot of its vaccine, and seeing that it produces what it calls a rapid and robust increase in spike binding antibodies. They saw that they were 9-fold higher after this dose 6 months out than they were about 28 days after the first shot. Now, they're saying that this supports being able to boost the single-shot COVID-19 vaccine. And, of course, as we've been hearing all of this talk about boosters 8 months after the original vaccination series, that's been for the mRNA vaccines. The CDC, though, yesterday tweeting and really reiterating what we've been hearing from U.S. health officials, that, quote, people who receive J&J will probably need a booster dose.
Crazy that vaccine data comes out. J&J was the one that is not running. It is AMC and GME instead. Always can't expect these crazy catalysts. Granddaddy Funk says 8-day moving average has crossed the 22-day on the daily. Last time that happened, we ran to $70. Just saying. Last time this happened, we ran to 70. Meatball needs a treat. Meatball, you want one? Okay. All right. Here it comes. Because you guys are watching out there, I'm gonna give a treat to Meatball. Say thank you. Say thank you to all the nice people.
But we've been waiting for more data on that. Interestingly, the Johnson & Johnson data show that their immune response is sustained out to 8 months. But there's been a question about whether they would need to boost. And this is some initial data suggesting that when they do, those at least spike binding antibodies are increased. So guys, there's going to be much more data that we need to inform this entire process, but a little bit of it coming out now from J&J, and we're expecting more from their 2-dose trial pretty soon, guys.
Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. You know, Meg, 9-fold. You drop by Walgreens. You know, you stop in there. It doesn't even hurt. I don't know what the... Remember when we wanted a vaccine and we didn't have it yet, and we're like, you know, you get this thing and you don't know what, you know, all bets are off if you get it. We've got these great vaccines now, and so you need a booster. What's the big deal? I got 10 minutes on my way home to stop by. I think this is good news. Thank you. Thank you, J&J. What do you think? Am I wrong? Am I right or am I right? Right.
I'm with you on this one, Joe.
No way. Oh, my God.
Mark my words.
Oh, my God. Meg,
47.
this is breaking news.
I agree with
This
Joe
is
on
breaking
one
news.
thing.
But you know what I mean, Meg? Look how much we take it for granted. I think we're jaded. We're jaded at how quickly we develop these and how 9-fold.
What are you even saying? Is this data that was presented in this press release or this breaking news section? Like, what's exactly happening? People, you want to be on my neck? Oh, baby. Oh, he's such a big baby. So, people have seen a lot of great new movies coming out and been able to connect the dots and think, hey, people ended up being able to cramped all day inside their house. They do want to go outside and watch a good movie or two. Makes sense.
Yeah, the boosters will likely help. I mean, Joe, I think the whole idea here is we've been in a pandemic, and so we've been taking these vaccines and trying to get as much protection as we can, as fast as we can. And what it might turn out is that we should space the doses out farther, 6 months or a year, the way a lot of other vaccines are initially dosed. And that's what we'll end up finding. But because we've been in a pandemic and we needed as much protection as we could get as soon as we could get, we got all the doses at the beginning, or at least for the 2-shot vaccines. And now we're talking about boosting. But this will change as we get out of the pandemic phase. And as you've been pointing out, we need to take the vaccines and need more people to take them in order to get out of the pandemic phase.
Although with full FDA approval, Meg, of the Pfizer vaccine, now it is possible to use that for off-label purposes, which could include using it as a booster, correct? So, I mean, we will probably hear about more and more people getting boosters now compared to before.
You know, it's really interesting, Mel. Typically when something has full approval, doctors do have discretion to use things off-label, but the CDC and the FDA really warned about that in this situation because these vaccines are under some special handling with the CDC. They said there could be sanctions for doctors that use them off-label. This was particularly in questions about using them for kids under 12 for whom they're not authorized at all. We already know a lot of folks have gone out and gotten booster doses. I think the CDC said about 1 million people had done that. And it is under emergency use authorization for people who are immunocompromised. But they are trying to wait until it goes through the regulatory process, the FDA and the CDC. And
when that does, you're going to expect a lot of your family members to be able to jump to the movies, the family, the squeaky doors. Oh my God, it's been so long. It's been so long since we talked about those doors. Oh man, so that's the news about whether or not there is going to be a continuation of this trend. Once again, you hear bullish news, you see stocks run 30% in a single day, now currently up another 5%, even after a pullback from 10 double digits up, 10% up. Now, you guys are now seeing a consolidation and continuation of that trend. All right, that's just how the cookie crumbles, and exactly why we need to continue looking at how the economy is shaping back up and whether or not this winter, it's weird to keep saying winter because winter is so far away, but whether or not this winter is going to be as rough as the last one, right? Both for the economy and for the world, for the people around you. Because if people aren't feeling safe, they're likely not going to have the security to be able to say, hey, I'm gonna go watch West Side Story in November, the new one. I'm gonna go watch what else is coming out in December? I think a couple of good ones. People are asking why Bitcoin is nearing $50,000. If you guys weren't paying attention, the crypto rallies for the past few days have been insane. Luckily, yours truly is here to talk about it. Andrew, you're back. Missed you and Meatball. A person says, I have returned. What's going on? Ben Horton says, thank God Andrew is streaming. All right, let's talk about why Bitcoin is up there, and then we'll go right back to AMC and GME.
Bitcoin is on the way back. Why has it picked up here over the last month or so, going from where it was in the high 20s to now close to 50?
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish I could give you absolutes, but at CoinShares, we manage $5 billion in assets under management in our crypto-related ETPs. We also have an active trading business and an investing business. We like to look at data, and as we look at data, one of the things we track is fund flows. There's over $50 billion in assets under management in crypto-related products around the world. What we saw throughout the summer, after May coming off those highs, we saw consecutive weeks of outflows. We've seen some small reversals to net inflows here and there, but this last stretch we had 6 weeks of net outflows. This past week marked the first week of net inflows in size. I think really what we saw there is a lot of institutions entered the Bitcoin trade in early 2021. They wanted to take some risk off the table, maybe crystallize some of those gains in their P&L for the year. So we did see some profit taking, some selling over the summer. Now that we're headed into the fall, I think sentiment has definitely shifted. I saw some data around 17% of Americans now owning Bitcoin. Crypto is obviously
70%. Whoa! Can you believe it? If you heard that from a while ago, people were talking about Dune, Spider-Man, Eternals. Yeah, those are some movies coming out soon. Love to hear it. But yeah, remember, Bitcoin got up to 60,000 and change earlier in April and May, just like our friends AMC and GME got to some highs in June. Right afterward, a inverse correlation with Bitcoin dropping to the, what is this?
obviously huge.
Low 40s and 30s around that time that the meme stocks rip, and now both are ripping at the same time.
Part of the discussion around the infrastructure bill. So I think we're seeing a sentiment shift, and with that, we're seeing increased allocation back into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
17%, sorry.
17% of Americans own a cryptocurrency. Did I hear that right?
They own Bitcoin,
They
not
own
just any
Bitcoin.
cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, that is correct.
That's
Yeah.
really amazing to me, because it's only about maybe 50% of Americans who own stocks, right? Or mutual funds.
It's amazing. And I mean, if we look at, for example, Robinhood's Q2 earning results, what's really amazing there is Robinhood is not really a stock app, it's a crypto app. 60% of funded accounts traded cryptocurrency in the second quarter. That's an amazing
6.9. She thinks that Robinhood is a crypto app.
number.
It is, no fooling.
Milton, how significant is it what Coinbase said recently about the amount of crypto it's going to hold on its own balance sheet, perhaps for liquidity purposes, but also the accumulation it plans to do over time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really great point. And again, Coinbase is by no means the first. We have to give a shout out to Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy for being the first publicly listed company to hold crypto on their balance sheet in size. I frankly think it's a no-brainer for Coinbase, and I'm surprised that they don't have a larger balance of crypto in their own balance sheet.
Ether is also up a significant amount as well. So that's the crypto rally from the last few days. You probably have noticed. Oh man, don't you mean Robin the Hood? There we go, perfect. Someone had to say it. What's up, bro? Glad to have a live stream. Rix, what's going on? Good to have you here. Robert says, actually, apes own 100% plus of the float. There you go. Aw, Doug D says, I know. You feel the future is close. Let's go. Get this, mother. Warp speed forward. Matrix 4 trailer shown at CinemaCon. Oh, Meatball Street says, Meatball and Andrew, missed you fine, gents. Missed you fine, gents. Meatball, did you hear that? What's Meatball want now? He doesn't want to go out. Let's see. Nice to have you here, bud. What's up, Conceptual Logic? Good morning, Boom Platoon. What's up, Crystal? Wreck tonight. Oh my god, a whole party is coming through. What's up? Good to have each of you. Hey, thanks for making that like counter so similar to that view counter. It's really helpful. It means that the algorithm says, hey, enough people like this video that we can send more people your way. Crypto up to 50K. I'm going to do a little bit more digging to see whether or not mainstream is still telling that same old story about AMC and GME. Aaron says, I lucked out, Andrew. Held calls through yesterday and they were down 76% for weeks. Sold for profits rollover for a future date, for a further or future date. Hey, congrats, Aaron. All right, hold on a second. So Delta variant could put a damper on AMC, but that video was basically clickbait. Didn't really talk about AMC. Thanks, CNBC, for the Kramer bait. Best Buy, blah, 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 blah. More students, Nordstrom, Kohl's and Chewy CEOs on the future of retail. Let's take a real quick look. Remember when Kohl's and Macy's were going absolutely insane a couple of days ago? Pepperidge Farm remembers. All right, let's take a quick look.
Our Courtney Reagan caught up with the CEOs of Kohl's and Chewy, and she joins us with more. Courtney, what did you learn?
Hi, Sarah. So we talked about the evolution of the companies and the leadership lessons learned along the way. Kohl's CEO Michelle Goss spoke about her partnership with Amazon through the retailer's returns program, and also what she thinks about the report that Amazon may potentially be looking at opening up department stores.
I think Amazon, they're always experimenting, they're innovating, and so we'll see. But I don't think at all it changes our partnership. And and candidly, we were kind of competing with them before on their online business. But I think it's looking for those unique win-wins.
When it comes to Chewy's evolution, CEO Sumit Singh was talking about the possibility of expanding beyond the U.S. and beyond pets, possibly into deliveries for humans.
The time is ready. We also have our eyes on international expansion, and so for us, it's been a matter of focus in doing our best in the pet category and serving, millions of pet parents. Could we do it? Do we have permission from customers to expand outside of pet? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. I have expected Ryan Cohen to be there. So that was Chewy CEO talking about retail and growth. Important to be able to understand that Chewy is a prime example of whether or not companies like GameStop can pivot. And pivot they shall. Both of these companies will be finding new ways to pivot. We've talked about multiple different ways that they could expand and grow. Let's listen to my own audio to see if it sounds okay. Here it comes, me listening to me. Can pivot, and pivot they shall. Okay, that sounds fine. Aaron says, there's the humor I like to hear. Alice says, good to see you again. Job's doing great. Thanks so much for asking. Oh, man. Yesterday was just one pepperoni of the whole pie. Dongjin. One pepperoni of the whole pie is the best way I've ever heard it said. All right, let's look at Lux Algo. You guys know what Lux Algo is. Gives you guys buy and sell signals for not only stocks, but also crypto. Let's take a look. Strong buy at the very beginning of the day after a weak sell signal during the pre-market. Then another weak sell signal once that reversal started, I would say from 47.80s right here. Pushed strong past a W shape, a double bottom right here at 43.55. Strong buy signal afterward, and then pushed onto 48.40s. You'll notice that if you had the premium oscillator tool as well, you would have had a hint that there is going to be a consolidation period. A little red dot right there, and you are correct. Right at the peak of that price action, the red dot comes out. Brings our price back down to 46 bucks. Still looking pretty positive. Still looking nice. You guys still also, in the pin chat, have 20% off. So just use Lux the right way. Use it the way you want to. Oh, man. Alan Moe. Goodness gracious. There's no such thing as oversharing. Did you hear that, Meatball? No such thing as oversharing. The Cat of Wall Street, absolutely. Who else did I have not yet said no hello to? Robert says, meet Drew, what's up? Oh, man. Can't wait for Matrix 4, jeez. Oh. Paul Ruiz, what's going on? Throwing those gorillionaires in the chat. Hey, Andrews, my master's degree in computer science. Yeah. Can you explain? Is volume yesterday 221 million, almost half of OS shares, the evidence of fake shares? I wouldn't say it's evidence, but it certainly does create the suspicion of why is there smoke when we cannot identify the fire. Okay? Now there should be some real processes taken in place to be able to actually understand how many shares are there. Exactly, definitively, someone investigate it. What, be it a government body, be it someone who, you know, has a third-party interest, right? Someone who is not vested in either side. We need someone who actually can understand. Maybe it's yours truly. Maybe it's me. Or maybe it's Professor Meatball. It's the professor. Oh yeah, here he is. Okay, him. We've been spending a lot more time on Twitter and Instagram too. Is the price setting up a new support level? Yes, that VWAP definitely is bringing itself into the fray, bringing itself into that main part of the story. Right now it's at 45.66, now currently consolidating right there, giving us a nice, strong support. BTS sandwiches, the days aren't the same without you. The life's just a greasy spoon without you. Anybody else understand that reference? Hi, Meatball, says Trina. Did you hear that? Talking to you. We're looking at the stock right now, both of which are bouncing off of that VWAP here. The GameStop VWAP has already passed over the EMA, as well as the AMC VWAP. Both of these are trending. Wow, it's really hard to tell. If I gave you guys just the charts, no price points, no axes, can you tell which one's which? Which one's AMC, which one's GME? Not only are the prices pattern-wise very similar, an uptrend leading to a peak, then a consolidation period coming off of a small bounce from a level of support or the VWAP itself. Oh man. Rector Knight says, haven't sold a single share of AMC or GME since I first bought them. Woof Meatball, says Angie. Robert says, that's a good boy. You hear that? They all agree. It's a democratic decision. Meatball is a nice boy. Granddaddy Funk says, I legit thought you had AMC up twice. That's just how bad it's getting. That's just how bad it is. All right, let's take a look at short interest. Ooh, 17.76%. AMC's short interest has now come down from 18%. Ooh, 0.25%. Oh, not much has changed.
Let's see. Sitting on the table, you don't realize how big Meatball is. Wow. Yeah, he's just out of frame, so you can see all of them usually. Daniel Rodriguez, good to see you, my brother. Let's see. Why exactly are Jamie and AMC moving almost exactly the same? Well, when that usually happens in the market, and that happens so often for two stocks, they're going to get investigated. It's going to be investigated either for the same manipulators, the same sell side participants, or investigated for the same buy side participants, right? And you know that the buy side participants are millions of individual retail investors, right? And so that is the end of the day. Are millions of people coordinating, or are a couple of greedy shorts trying to coordinate? Which one seems just Occam's razor this for me? Which one seems more likely? Which one seems less likely? Thank you for the pogs, Paul Ruiz. Thank you, Meatball. That smile can melt any golem's heart. What a sweetheart. Meatball knows how important today is. Let's look at that VWAP. Will it hold the price action of AMC right now? 45.30s. Whoa, okay. Alrighty. Oh. Gotta love this boy. I do. Joji, what's up? How's the new job been? It's been okay. It has been so much work, and I have not been getting much sleep. But yours truly, I would say I'm still taking care of myself. I'm still happy. That's, at the end of the day, that's pretty important. How many shares were borrowed today? Let's take a look at the Stonko tracker in a second. We'll look at the iBorrow desk as well. iBorrow desk and the Stonko tracker are two really good ways to be able to make sure that you always figure out exactly how many shares were borrowed. At least they were borrowed legitimately. So what do we start with today? 25th, started by 300,000. That was how many was available. Now it's 150,000. So by that, empirically, you can say that 150,000 shares were borrowed. Whether or not they were shorted, different question. So that's a really easy way to be able to tell. Now, what's more interesting is when 100,000 turns into 5,000, right? And there were no shares available to borrow for a while. Or 600,000 goes up in smoke in a couple of minutes. Or when there are millions of shares, that's when it gets really exciting. Looks like for the last few days that has not been the case. There we go. So on the 18th, 1.2 million became 400,000. So where do 800,000 shares go? That's between 4:45 Eastern and 9 a.m. Eastern. John Nicholas, good to see you. Good to see you. Investigates millions with an M. Millie. This is little Millie Bobby Brown. And I'm here to say, I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Let's see. Lupe, that was the answer. How many shares were borrowed today? Ooh, Lord Steve says lucky like number 444. Very cool. It's lucky for certain people, not lucky for a billion other people. You know how people step out into the street to look at what the city bus is at? That's kind of like me with the price action right now. $49 ape waiting for me to pick up and lift off. Yo, you're going to get crossed over pretty soon. Wow, can you... Oh, it must be amazing to be like an ape that just got picked up, because that's me. GME just picked me up at $220-ish, and I've been with you through that entire dip from 220 all the way down to 209. $20 doesn't really feel like much. It just feels like the city bus. Exactly, that's a good point. The city bus is just going its natural route to the moon. It's just whenever it's going to pick you up. You're just checking the schedule. What's going on, JN? Thanks for the welcome back. BTS sandwiches, Andrew Mo's neighborhood. Gloria, I'm a data scientist. It's your friendly neighborhood Silicon Valley data guy. Jamie says, I remember watching your stream and it went crazy because it hit $8. Those were the days. Remember that? Remember that, Meatball? You were so young. You were a baby. You were 8 months younger. Those were the days. You're gonna go back. You're gonna sit up. You're gonna be like, wow. Once upon a time, I had youth. What do I think about Uber for some day trades today? Uber. Let's see if I can do some digging about Uber. SPAC scrutiny intensifies among growing pace. That is true. SPACs are increasing. J&J announces positive results. Okay, great. Interesting how that's not big news right now. Okay. Let me see if I can do a quick Uber check. Nordstrom earnings were weaker than other retail winners. Ivy Creek says, the bus picks you up, you notice? It's full of apes. The bus driver says, you getting in or out? You say, what's the fare? And they say, 1 ticket, please. And you say, you mean a stock of GME or AMC? And they say, hell yeah, brother. And then they do this, and then you do this, and then you put on sunglasses. Good roleplay. The charts are exact copies, says Sativa. Wow. Linda says, Mr. Calm Spirit Andrew, glad you're back for this move. Heck yeah. Couldn't miss it. Honestly, physically cannot miss it. It is huge. What a huge move. You wanted to, even if you like actively tried, you couldn't miss it. Let's go, Sustained Rock Studios. Meatball, you want to come back up? Come back up. Come back up. Oh yeah. He's being a needy baby, so he wants to be in the lap. Space Ape says, don't miss the bus. Don't miss the bus. Options Sonar. Here's the options chain. So now the $11 million worth of calls at $40 is what's supporting us right now. I'm imagining a couple of these calls are getting sold. Maybe a couple exercised. 45, there's 8 million. So there's about 20 million gamma ramp underneath us with a continued ramp to $50, about $10 million. Pablo says, where you been? France? We have to win. Oh, I can't wait to actually go to France and then I could say, France. But no, I haven't. Big Baldwin, Mr. Out of the Loop here. Where have you been? Missed ya. Hello. Good to see ya. Meatball, you feel okay? You feeling good? Did all my construction upset Meatball? Absolutely. All the construction upset me. Could barely sleep this weekend. Which is why I am more tired and ready to go than ever before. Jessica says, hey, duck friend. Oh no, it's the duck from the joke. Hey guys, hey y'all, missed you. Hey Andrew. You know what? I can honestly say I did also miss you. Duck from the joke. Meatball is wondering whether or not that this options chain is winding up differently today. Let's refresh and take a look. Refresh. Catson says, you're the best of the best. Thank you. No, you're the best around. Nothing's ever going to bring you down. Pablo Navarro says, let's get this stream up to 1,000 likes. All right, what do we have here? It's only been about an hour and a half, coming on to 2 hours of trading. We have $45 strike. Remember that support that was giving us pump earlier? We have equal puts versus calls. In fact, puts might even have the calls on the ropes. However, $50 has another 11 million. That's $20 million worth of calls at $50 strike. So that is a ramp if you've ever seen one. Delta hedging that direction is coming soon. Pablo said, let's make that math make sense. Andrew, it's National Dog Day, says Space Ape. Happy National Dog Day, Meatball. You're not too proud. You're not too proud to give father a kiss. Are you? Wink. I try to teach him how to wink, but I think he can't actively tell. If you didn't know how to wink, you probably wouldn't know how to wink either. All right, let's see. We just saw the positive J&J results for the COVID booster. And that is, I thought, would be huge news for the rest of the day for AMC. Let's take a listen.
J&J announcing some positive results for its COVID booster shot. Let's get to Meg Terrell for that news. Meg.
Hey, David. Well, we've been hearing a lot about the need for booster shots for the mRNA vaccines, Moderna and Pfizer. Now getting the first of some data from Johnson & Johnson in the form of a press release where they said 6 months after the initial single shot with their vaccine, they gave a booster dose to a few people in an early study and found that it caused a rapid and robust increase in spike binding antibodies to the extent 9-fold higher than what they saw about a month after the first shot. Now, saying that this should inform or help inform decisions about giving a potential booster to the J&J vaccine perhaps 8 months after the first dose. This as health officials, including the CDC, in a tweet yesterday saying they need more data to inform this decision for the J&J vaccine, but that they expect, quote, people...
Look at this tweet. CDC Gov. This is, oh my goodness. Twitter has been official media for many years now, probably a decade at this rate. So this says there's not enough data to support getting an mRNA hashtag COVID. That doesn't look good. However, people who receive J&J will probably need a booster dose. It looks like everyone's going to have to. So the point of the matter is whether or not people are going to feel. It doesn't matter whether or not it creates safety. It is all about who is queen, right? Data is king. Perception is queen, right? And that's the most important piece. It's about the stock market. It's about the economy. It's about the movies, whether or not it appears to be safe. And that it makes all the difference. If everyone is as safe as they can be and feeling secure, then you do have security.
Who receive J&J will probably need a booster dose. Now, after the announcement from health officials that that's going to need to happen, Morning Consult out with a poll today showing 3/4 of vaccinated adults say that they would get a booster shot. So we're going to have to see this go through the FDA and CDC.
Hold on. U.S. public is largely on board. So this is the point. The problem is this. What is the denominator? Every time they make a statistic like this. What is the denominator? Everybody, 77% of all people said this, or 77% of all people who got the original shot. That would make more sense to me.
process, but J&J trying to provide the information here that it can also boost. We are still waiting for more data on the safety of a booster and also more real-world evidence against the Delta variant from the J&J vaccine. Meanwhile, guys, a little bit more news on the vaccine front from Moderna this morning, just announcing that they've finalized submitting their full application for FDA approval of their COVID-19 vaccine. So that's a key step in the process. FDA now has to accept that, and then we'll see how long they take to complete and fully approve the Moderna vaccine as well. But up 3.5% there, guys.
It's good news to hear on the third shots, Meg, and on the protection after the second shots on Moderna and Pfizer. What are we learning about breakthrough infections in this country? Any more data on how common they are, whether hospitalizations and severe illness is rising? Anything you can tell us here?
Yeah, right now, experts are really pointing out that the vaccines are holding up well against severe disease with Delta. We are seeing that protection against infection and symptomatic disease, perhaps that doesn't put you in the hospital, that is starting to wane, particularly with the mRNA vaccines. We are seeing data showing that, including some that just came out from the CDC. Yeah.
It sounds like they just opened the door. They opened the noise gate so that everything outside could be heard. Okay, interesting. So at the end of the day, we do need to be able to follow along with news of what people are doing, or the entire industry is doing, to prepare people so that the winter is normal. We need normality to come back. Normalium and fatalium. Man. I'm going to reach up into the sky and bring down a big fluffy cloud of feel good. Feel good, man. All right? Now you feels good, man. There we go. Jessica says, should have bought these stocks way at the beginning of the pandemic, though. Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, actually, at the beginning of the pandemic, likely wouldn't have been at the very apex of the pandemic, at least for the GME and AMC stocks. That's when they really got close to zero. And that would have been a mega steal. It's what is known in the industry as a mega steal. Let's see. I want to be able to take a look at. We looked at the options chain. I remember there is new FTD data on Ortex, which I like. So this is Ortex. You can toggle failure to delivers, and then you get these yellow bars here. Best way to interpret them is the more yellow, the more obligations the short sellers could not fulfill. And that comes back down to counterfeit shorting, right? So if there's a share they cannot locate, they have failed to deliver it, which means that they originally sold it naked. That's a share that nobody owned, that was not borrowed from anyone, and they still shorted it anyway. That's a counterfeit short. So the amount of yellow it takes is how close we were to the squeeze. That's the easiest way to understand. So over here in January, we were the closest. We had 25 million FTDs over the course of 2 weeks. And in the next 2 weeks, is this 1 week? This is 1 week. Sorry, 1 week's worth of data. 25 million FTDs. The next week, 28 million FTDs, and then died down for a good amount of time. The next time we spiked up was during that June gamma squeeze, 20 million FTDs on 1 week, and then 17.5 million the next week, and then nothing. Then flatline. That is us twiddling our fingers waiting for whether or not the FTD storm on these past few days is going to be epic. Absolutely epic. There's going to be a delay in reporting, significantly longer than you might even think. It's probably going to be a couple of weeks before you see data from this week. Houston, says Ivy Creek. Fueling complete. Fueling complete. It is time to fuel. Let's see. What else 12 minutes ago, Kramer tries to rationalize the surge in meme stock. I like how there's tries. Kramer tries. Is this his words? I guess he says, when you look at the categories that sold well in Best Buy, you start thinking, wait a sec, this is going to translate to GME sales, Kramer said. I think that's absolutely true. AMC is harder to figure out because of the looming COVID-19 Delta variant. The variants aren't stopping people from going to the theaters, he said, adding the box office numbers are dramatically improving. And remember, from Fast 9, we already defeated 2019 records. That's pre-pandemic levels, right? And the next movie, Black Widow, also defeated Fast 9 records, and so on and so on. Jeff has come in with 8 months of compliments. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know what you look like, but let me take a look at your profile picture. Can I expand it? That's a cartoon of a ripped, scary, spooky character. Awesome. Oh man. Let's take a look at whether or not we can break past that VWAP right now. So we return to that 260% retracement right here. That's giving us some good support for the day. And we are making our way past that VWAP, currently trapped between that SMA, that blue line that I'm highlighting, and that orange line, the VWAP right here. Can't wait for Shang-Chi. Oh yeah, big shout out to Shang-Chi. It looks like the movie might not be good, but I have very high hopes, which is normally a recipe for disaster. Let me see what Rotten Tomatoes says. Oh, it's already out? No, it's in September. I'm like, what? September is, if you guys aren't counting, a week away. 1 week away. All right, let me see what Rotten Tomatoes thinks. Give me a rating. No rating yet? Oh, 92%. Ooh. Y'all gotta go. I mean, look at that. 92. At a local AMC theater near you. In 1 week. I just like the stock. Ali Pollock says, I'll only deal with Loki variants, thanks. Is that the new Joker meme? I'll only deal with edgy Loki variants, thank you. Let's take a look at, I was looking at Eyebrow Desk earlier. There's that stupid Kramer video where he doesn't actually talk about AMC very much. He's like, AMC? I don't know why. And then everyone's like, that's a good video. He doesn't know why? Perfect. Fast and Furious 9. I thought you were talking about Final Fantasy 9. Fast and Furious, come on. Let's see. BTS sandwiches. My profile picture is my husband, Taehyun. Look, but no touching. Oh, little dude starts pre-K September 1st. Oh, sniffle, sniffle. They grow up so fast. Jessa, beautiful. John Adams. Hey, brother Andrew. Good to see you, my friend. I smooth brain ape. How can you explain how we will get all paid 40 mil per share or infinity pool? I don't know what infinity pool, dark pools, infinity wars. Let's see. So the point of the matter is that it's about supply and demand, and whether or not people have a infinite appetite for demand or a infinitely small, a zero supply, if the apes hold the float. And we proved that it did. Adam Aaron did, himself, the CEO, from a while ago. And now at the end of the day, people are questioning whether or not that was the logic they should have been following. That's fair. You are following the beat of your drum. I'm beating a drum right now, trying to inform you of the data that I'm looking at. That's the most important piece. That's the most important understanding of what we're talking about here. Daniel Rodriguez says, Shang-Chi looks bad, bad to the bone. Oh, man. Pageant Princess turns 9 on September 5th. It's all too much. Oh, no. It's all too much. Oh, man. Cameron says, the apes need you. I'm here, Cameron. I'm alive. And I'll sleep when I die. Oh, yeah. I'm alive. Let me see. GameStop gained 27% on Tuesday. How much higher can it go? Aaron's, that's why we are reading your article. We need to know. Okay, this is from Barron's article that says, why were GameStop and AMC of stock going up? A meme stock revival. GameStop stock had dropped nearly 50% since peaking in early June, erased 40% of that drop in a single day. Oh, I remember that day. I bought right before the 40% drop. It also looks to have cleared resistance at about $200, which means there could be more upside ahead. GameStop wasn't the only meme stock with a move Tuesday. AMC gained 20%, and like GameStop, it appeared to clear resistance, though not nearly as cleanly. In my opinion, which is what I said yesterday, AMC is set up to have a even greater rip later on in the near future, and I would say that relatively they've evened out now. GameStop is even on the day. AMC is up 3% still. John Adams, you the best. What's up? Catzone says, love Andrew Logic. Data, the best. Okay, for those of you wondering why we care about these stocks, consider that AMC is the largest position in the Russell 2000. Don't forget. So this sentence is really important. Consider why we care about these stocks. Barron is telling their mainstream audience, hey, don't worry, we're not meme stock enthusiasts. We just want to keep you informed. And that's the most important piece, is that this small, relevant aspect of AMC in the world of the mainstream investors is super important. Second, and AMC is not only first place, it's first place by a wide margin. Second place is like 3 times smaller. Nice bounce, says John Krasinski. No, Jonathan Krinsky. IWM closing above 225 would send a strong bullish message for small caps and suggest a now 7-month consolidation is in fact resolving higher. It's weird they say the Russell 2000, but GME is in the Russell 1000. So doesn't that matter too? Why is GME important? Well, did you know that AMC is in the Russell 2000? Oh, man. The volume is fan-freaking-tastic, says Daniel. I think we just crossed 120 mil on the day with only 2 hours. 2? We've been on these streams for way longer, with way less to show for it. Like 120 mil in the course of 2 hours of the market. Absolutely incredible. Incredible. Ah. Hey, where'd Meatball? I like how Meatball looked at me when he said that. Come on, buddy. Come here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good boy. He's a much bigger dog than most people realize. Scott says, time for a breakout. Let's go. And remember, his name is Price, so therefore he knows all about price breakouts. Ollie Pollock says, be advised there could be a few fake squeeze attempts. If we hold, then there will be a real squeeze, and it'll be super obvious. Oh, don't lick me. Don't lick me, Meatball. Don't lick me. What do you eat? Your breath all stinky. Hey, if you guys enjoy spending part of your day with me and Professor Meatball, there are a couple ways that you can check out. Some links in the description, especially the one that gives you 4 free stocks as well as free level 2 data when you fund it. Try and funding it, right? Giving yourself free stocks is just the best way to go about it. Okay. That's in the description down below. Stop. Ew. Ivy Creek says, Godspeed, John Glenn. Godspeed, apes. And of course, if you make that math make sense, I couldn't appreciate it more. Making that like counter equal the number of people in here. That's it. All right, let's see. That was what Barron's thought about the market. Let's see if one more. SPAC scrutiny. I do actually want to hear about that SPAC scrutiny. When did Meatball get so big? He's huge. Have you seen his Instagram? Andrew Money? He's the biggest dog.
And now, here is the host of the Faber Report.
Oh my god. This guy's name is Faber.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert. All right. Yeah, there you go. I'm back to you. Guys, I want to talk about SPACs. And you know what? Let me give you a quick rundown where we're going to head first here. Bill Ackman, again, remember the largest SPAC out there. Actually, one of the more favorable for investors in terms of at least an alignment of incentives with the actual SPAC holders for Tontine. But we're going to talk about Bill Ackman's SPAC. We're going to talk about the lawsuits. I reported on this yesterday. I want to clarify some of those things. I want to talk about minimum cash requirements in SPACs. This is coming up a lot lately, given the very high level of shareholder redemptions. All right, first to Ackman. He put out another letter basically saying, listen, he's going to try to move to a Spark, which is a new vehicle he's creating that he wants to get the SEC to sign off on. If it's approved by the SEC and he gets the Spark warrants as well for listing, he says, then, you know what I'm going to do with PSTH? If we haven't actually entered a merger transaction, I'm going to give you your money back, all $4 billion of it. And then you're going to get an opportunity to participate in the Spark, which is different. They don't take your money. It's kind of an option to participate in a future deal.
Spark. What's up, freethinker McJones?
It was so large, it made it very difficult to find a potential target. He talked about things like Bloomberg, which I've reported is not going to happen, and any number of others. It does seem likely he's going to give the money back. But again, to his credit, at least the incentives there were much better aligned with that of his SPAC holders. And I want to get to that in a bit. Let's go back to the lawsuit. Remember, one of the reasons why Ackman is doing this is this lawsuit that they got, saying that they should be regulated under the 40 Act as an investment company. Yesterday, I reported on what might be a proliferation of those lawsuits. They're not going to come, though, from the people suing Ackman. I can tell you that at this point. However, I am hearing from any number of SPAC sponsors. They've been contacted by lawyers. It's unclear at this point, though, whether these are simply plaintiffs' lawyers that are going to be following up with similar arguments without great merit.
They're like, we're not going to redo that part. We're not going to redo this part of the show.
Remember, time is your enemy as a SPAC sponsor. You want to get your deal done and approved or announced and approved. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I did want to back off a bit yesterday from indicating in some way that Mr. Jackson, the former SEC commissioner, and any of the people who are suing on Tontine are going to actually broaden out. That is not expected to be the case.
But the chilling effect is very real.
But the chilling effect could be real. You could have a lot more plaintiffs' attorneys. And again, I know a lot of sponsors have been contacted by lawyers. All right, let's move on to
that's news.
Let's move on to an interesting move today in a particular stock. Which is not one I've ever talked about. LWAC is what I'm talking about here. It's Lotus Walk acquisition. But take a look at the stock if you can, because this is going to get to...
Almost sure that these are all advertisements for these stocks. Okay. I actually was looking forward to understanding more about SPACs. How dare you? Oh, overpower. What's up? Tony Gonzalez, Mo Money Mornings. Let's go, GME AMC to the moon. Tony's got that gold meatball coin. Gotta shout out Tony for pressing that join button, and he stayed joined for a long time. That's how long he's been a member. Dathan Williams just became a patron on Patreon. Thanks so much. It means a lot. You get a shout out right now for pressing that Patreon link and supporting the show. Let's see. Let's get ready to rumble. So the fact is that you guys have questions. You guys ask them. You guys don't have to ever super chat to get your questions answered, right? And that's the main beauty of the show that we're creating here, is that everyone gets a chance to ask their questions, and the people that have the money and the time to support the show, so that everyone else can learn a thing or two. Do we bounce past that VWAP? Very slowly, slowly but surely, making our way past that VWAP and staying above it. Can I just get one boom boom candle? Can I get one candle in the chat? Meatball. Whoa, now. Chegg pays $1 million in employee student debt. That's huge. Is it huge? That's like 3 people's worth of college. Let me see. All these companies trying to double down on like being nice, which is good. They should be competitive to be nice to each other. Tim Cook celebrates 10-year anniversary as CEO. Wow, I feel old. I feel very old. Delta variant effect already reflected in airline stocks. New home sales rose 708,000 versus 700,000. All these tiny marginal surprises ends up adding up fast. The markets are quickly shifting, and if you're keeping your money under your pillow, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be very happy for much longer while the markets are ripe for the taking, as long as you know how to gain a small delta. Let's take a look at this downtrend up to a level of rejection at 45.82. This VWAP, yeah, it doesn't seem like the VWAP is rejecting it a little bit earlier, but we do have a W playing out right now, 46.41. You guys not sure what that looks like. Downtrend coming down, bottom at the same point twice, comes right back up. The Bob Dole. Ivy Creek. Strong buy alert on Lux. Oh, that's true. That's true. We're back to that strong buy. See, those of you with Lux Algo, you guys get that buy signal the fastest. We had 3 strong buy signals. Each of them had played out correctly. One stronger and improving upon the last. You would have gotten even faster. You would have known it even faster if you followed the oscillator. You would have seen that green indicator right here, that the price action is approaching its bottom, and then you would have been able to get out and on to the stock earlier than that strong buy signal. Shib Gripple says, we got boom boom. Copy that. We got boom boom confirmed. Copy it. Put it in a put it in the middle. Switch it all around. AMC is the baby squeeze. It's like the next millionaire. Baby. These stocks are looking a little bit different now. GME consolidating in the middle of its uptrend. So its uptrend started at 197, so currently right around that middle. AMC closer to the bottom of the beginning of that uptrend. But I would say once the W played out correctly, it is relatively the same position on this flagpole as GME is. So both of these are now creating once again some intraday bullish flags. Oh what? Oh what? Says Eddie. Oh. Next millionaire says, "Don't get left behind. The GME rocket to infinity. Infinity Town population, yo!" Good Finds says, "Head and Shoulders bottom target price may reach from 48 to 50. Good golly, Miss Molly. Holy shoot. It's been a crazy day recently. Glad to have another chance to spend it with some people that I think are pretty cool. You guys. Not trying to flirt, that's just what it is. Come on, buddy. Where'd you go? You're over here. Oh, yeah. Meatball's back up in the chair. What do we have here? About 5-ish%. I'll just give him the spaceship. Just the regular spaceship. There we go. Reverse Head and Shoulders. Calls on shampoo. Please put those shampoo calls. I would say if this is reverse Head and Shoulders, this is a little too close to double bottom. So it's that Batman's reverse Head and Shoulders again. But yeah, if there's two bottoms for two different heads, or a head with a cape, that'll work. Warlord, the reason why we haven't been able to stream is because they have been absolutely destroying my bathroom. They have ripped out all the guts and have yet to put anything back. So as of right now, I am just waiting for them to tell me their schedule, but as of this time next week, it should all be normal again. Every piece of tile and grout and drywall should be back in place. Definitely shorting dandruff. You gotta short reverse dandruff. You hear that? Precious boy. Make sure to screenshot this. Here, let's start a trend. Hashtag good boys. Screenshot your video right now and then tweet it at me and Angelo Money and say, "Come watch this show." I think that's a really good hashtag right there. One more chance. You get it right there. Good boys. Hashtag Showerfest. Mad Hatter. Meatball upgraded his axe to a literal axe. Let's see if we can get that bounce off of that VWAP here. 47.86. Nearly coming. We do have that strong buy signal, so that is something. Good job. Let's see whether or not we can return to the 47.86 area. What's up, John Cena? Love your work in Suicide Squad. Can't wait for your HBO series. Should I hold my 210 GME option and 46 AMC option due Friday? Or sell today when we're up? I don't think you'll be premium neutral. I don't think you'll be premium neutral. I can't give you financial advice, but Wednesday is pretty close. You have about 2 more days worth of price action. You're gonna have to trust your gut. Maybe use a tool like Tiblio in the description, or use something like LuxAlgo, because I personally cannot carry that liability of providing any semblance of advice. But first of all, congrats. You're almost in the money for both. Looks like you're in a good shape no matter what. Skier Dude says, can't wait for AMC theaters to get new tech. Oh, free thinker McJones. Isn't it odd? What's odder is that we have Austin Tobit on the show. We have A Tobit coming out here and just chilling. It's crazy. Hey, Meatball. Meatball needs a Jim Cramer chew toy. That's a great idea. Mark Baptista's, I have a question not about Fully Fools. If GME share reaches 500k, wouldn't the company be worth 73 mil times 500k equals 36 trillion? Yeah. As a market cap, or will only the shares aren't covered yet would be worth 500k? Aren't covered. No. All shares, if the stock is trading for whatever X amount, if you say 500k, is going to be what the market cap of the company is worth. Good question. Some people do like a like physics in the real world, like a superhero landing from Deadpool, right? How much force would that do to your knee, to the meniscus, to the joints around that knee? That's a fun physics question. I would like to do like economic visualization, economic virtual, like, I don't know, what do they call it? Fantasy battles? Like, what does it cost to like pay all the goons that attack you in a video game, right? What's it cost for Spider-Man to hit all these guys with like advanced military weaponry, and to keep all those guys on payroll? Ben Horden says, A Tobit, read me a bedtime story about hedgy crimes. Wouldn't you approve? Marcy Investments would like to see how to set the oscillator feature. It's fairly simple, but there's a whole video. Just search Andrew Mo LuxAlgo, you'll be able to find it for me to show you. But what you do is you go to where you keep your product idea stream, and then, or you don't even have to go there, right side. You can go over to indicators. Hold on. This video, fundamental measure, and then search for LuxAlgo here, and then there is going to be an option to add it right there. But either way, be able to look it up on that LuxAlgo tutorial video. Nguyen says, AMC 130 million volume and the stock is not moving. Why is it, Andrew? It's because right now the bears are thinking AMC is way overbought, even though that's not what fundamentals are saying. If they think that it's way overbought, they're going to start selling no matter what. They just want to make a buck. And if they sell, they're going to try to get their friends to sell. Right? They're going to try and continue that trend because they don't want to be calling it wrong when you throw a coin in the air and you're trying to catch it before it falls. Skier says, pressure is force divided by area. Science rules. Bill. Let's see. What does infinite losses mean? Infinite losses you can even see in, like, just go to the options chain, for example. You go to the options. Do I have to unlock? Thank God. Go to options, and when you buy or sell one of these, if it's like, for example, like a naked or an not covered call, you can see that the downside is infinity. It's fun to be able to deal with that potential downside upside. Marcy Investments, you got it. And of course, that tool I have on screen, that's Luxago. You guys can get 20% off. You guys know that. With the pinned chat. Oh, Andrew's gonna stretch. He's gonna stretch. Oh. He's gonna look at the markets. He's gonna look at the news. He's gonna look at the data, and then he's gonna stretch. Okay. There's a benefit to Kathy Woods, blah, 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 blah. 50 grand Bitcoin. Netflix announces 42 original films. Whoa. 42? And then Apple TV is like, Apple TV is free. And Netflix is like, ah, darn it. Let me see. Jim believes people are desperate. Oh my god, why is this such clickbait? One sec, let me see. They're desperate to buy stocks. All right, Jim, tell us that like it is.
For Watson News, the only shock here was the name Pfizer chose. Comber Natty. Whatever that means. Come here, natty dress person? I mean, what, natty? Look, I know about community and mRNA, but still, that's about as uncatchy a name as I can imagine. Then again, Big Pharma ran out of good names ages ago. But we did learn something today. When we get good news in this market, no matter how widely telegraphed, no matter how much everybody knows, that was easy. Especially when it involves a reopening of sorts. Well, the public, it just buy.
All right. Once again, you have clickbaited me, Mr. Jim Cramer, once again with your random shenanigans. Where's my easy button? I was gonna press it and be like, you are not so easy, but now I can't find it. Oh man, it's usually, my entire apartment is turned upside down. Absolutely insane. Tom says, hey Andrew, I started buying AMC back in January and bought more in the past months, holding for the MOATs. Tom, I wave. Hello. All right. And now that people are talking about that Netflix thing, let's just take a look. Rocket Lab. Absolute insane volume these past 2 days. Oh. Energy stocks on the rebound. Stonks. The Great Resignation. 43% of survey respondents say their career has stalled. Employees have more. Oh, people are quitting their jobs and trying to get better ones. Interesting. Kind of like that actually. Let's see now. Oh my god, that buy stuck in my head. Honestly, it wasn't until you guys just mentioned it, and now it's stuck in my head too. I should start making some random sounds, and that way I will also go viral. The Jim Cramer method. Just kidding, kids. Do not imitate Jim Cramer at home. Absolutely not. Very dangerous. Is DeFi the next big disruptor? Oh my goodness, decentralized finance. E-commerce and live streaming. Hey, I'm a live streamer. it's good to be able to go through these video titles and see kind of which ones catch my eye, because that is definitely catching the mainstream media population's eye as well, and that would be what they're likely watching as of right now, while the rest of us need to know. Mega cap. Ooh. People are buying Zillow. Oh, semiconductor shortage will be over by end of 2021. Oh, that's huge news. Okay, that's absolutely huge. Let's take a listen. This will change almost the entire market from the ground
up. It is
up.
A challenging time, and it will remain a challenging time for every aspect of the semi-industry for at least a year and a half yet.
That was Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger with us yesterday talking about the chip shortage as the auto industry continues to slash production outlooks. For more, let's bring in former Cypress Semi CEO TJ Rogers. TJ, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
In terms of these semi shortages, I mean, we know they continue to roil the auto industry. We've gotten reports that they're starting to affect other industries as well. What is your outlook? Do you anticipate that this is a situation that could truly stretch into, say, 2023?
The answer is definitive yes and no. You know what you just heard from Intel is for the really high end chips. So we're talking about chips at 12 nanometers in dimension for a transistor and below. The fact is, by the end of this year, the rest of the industry will be recovered, and for chips made on 200 millimeter or 8-inch wafers at nodes at 40 nanometers and above, which is almost everything we use, we're going to be back to normal. The car industry is getting hit for two reasons. One is they use high-end chips like Intel makes, and two is their procurement practices set them up for this. The exception being Toyota, and the I think the triggering mechanism for this interview is Toyota announced that they're going to come up short a couple 100,000 cars. The reason being that in the dashboard of modern cars, you have a little movie theater. And all those dials used to be there aren't there anymore. They're pictures.
That's bullish.
And the chips that paint that dashboard and control the car are high-tech chips of the same type that Intel makes. Intel, I don't believe, makes many automotive chips at all. And those chips are expected to be scarce through the first half of 2022.
What's up, Josh Lawson?
Some automotive manufacturers are going to be affected through, I think, the middle of 2022. Intel is going to be affected into the beginning of 2023 because Intel has been underperforming. Mr. Gelsinger, the new president of Intel, he came in because Intel has had problems, has watched Samsung and TSMC, the Asian rivals, pass them by in the really high-end chips. And yeah, they've got a headwind, so their own performance. But this is going to be over by the end of this year for most stuff we buy.
So we have this conversation right now. There's a timeline in place, depending on what type of chips we're talking about, to see an easing of the shortages, whether it's this year or next. And yet we have money and policy that is being directed both here in the U.S. And elsewhere, China, of course, being another key example, towards the creation of more foundries and more capability to produce more chips in the future. What does that do to what's already a very cyclical industry?
Well, a couple questions there. Let me take the long-term questions most important. And the fundamental argument, which the SIA talks about, is there in Washington lobbying for money, Semiconductor Industry Association. I was president of that group back when it was headquartered in Silicon Valley, and you had to be a CEO of a chip company to be on the group. Today it's in Washington, and it's the lobbying group, and they're hate to use the word, groveling for money and give me money because we're behind. The Chinese are putting money in their chips, and we'll lose ground to them. It's the standard lobbying argument in Washington. The fact is, the Chinese semiconductor industry is not very good. And they've been throwing money at it for years. And the fact is that free and open competition, free markets, are are the kind of markets that the chip industry thrives in, and government subsidies are bad for the chip industry. So I don't buy that. I don't think we ought to be giving money to some of the richest companies in the world.
So, free and open markets, we have an industry that continues to consolidate and big ticket deals that are continuing to make their way through regulatory approval right now. I mean, Gelsinger, just going back to Intel, voiced his interest in acquiring something as well with us yesterday. Do you expect that we continue to see more of this type of deal making and that essentially the biggest players get bigger?
Yes, that's been the trend. You know, cars, there are 110 car companies in 1900, and now we got the big 3, 2, whatever you want to say, and 1 or 2 big companies offshore. So that's happening in the chip industry, continuing to happen. In this case, I support it. You know, Gelsinger runs a company that is one of the best managed companies in the world, and he's recovering some of the management skills they lost, and they're going to take over. They're talking about taking over Global Foundries. That is not a well-run organization, and when they get that capacity, they'll have instant capacity online, well-run, making the right stuff. And that's the kind of move where the semiconductor industry can fix some of its problems. They've got plenty of money to buy all the fabs they need. That's not the problem.
That's not the problem. Okay. Well, that's this video called "The Semiconductor Shortage Will Be Over by 2021 for Most Products." And most products is the kind of products that you probably buy. Is the end of the day. Computers, right? You're looking at cars. Cars, most importantly, the auto industry getting absolutely shafted by the lack of semiconductors, by the lack of specific parts, by a lack of specific metals, and by the fact that a lot of people need a lot of the same products right now. Let's see. Stagflation seems like the biggest risk to market. I would say Nickelodeon CEO. I love that. Is the tax system fair? I'm sure everyone's going to love that. But since those of you who are going to be paying probably short-term capital gains on your AMC GME, short-term capital gains, the tax system, whether or not it is fair, should be a discussion you guys think about. At the very least, consider. You don't have to have a side, but you should consider it. Let's consider it together.
Mucci, he's the founder and co-managing partner of Skybridge Capital. He's also a CNBC contributor. And Alexis Goldstein, she's the director of financial policy at the Open Markets Institute. A wealth tax has been bandied about, Anthony, and I've said, well, okay, so let's say you do 2 or 3% on someone's portfolio. If a stock had gone up in a bull market and was up doubled or tripled, and you don't sell it, but you pay taxes on it. What if it goes back down 80%? How would that work in practice? If you get past the confiscatory notion and going, there are property taxes, but for 400 years since John Locke, personal property has been something that you were able to keep once you earned it. So that there's no precedent to just throw that out.
Well, I'm excited that you brought John Locke into the conversation, Joe. I mean, the number one thing here is that it's not really administrable, but the other problem is if you're going to tax the capital after the people have already made the money and had their income taxed, it's going to be a disaster because it's going to cause a misalignment of the way we use our capital. And so if I make the money and decide not to spend it on myself, but invest it in businesses that are going to create jobs for people, they're sort of going to be penalizing that. I mean, ultimately, the society has moved on. They should be using a VAT. A VAT would help us pick up all of that black market activity, all of that cash activity, and they could have some limits on these IRAs, the Peter Thiel situation, where you can make up to $1 or $2 million, but then after that, you're subjected to these sorts of taxes. I don't think it's going to work, Joe. And the good news is we have such a divided government that they'll never get it through.
Alexis, the proponents of it say we levy property taxes all the time, and we're somehow able to do that, and we can figure out what assets are worth. I don't know. Real estate seems different than private companies, and it seems like that's an easy answer, but I don't think it really explains how difficult it would be for a underfunded, what people say, IRS. They already have trouble. How could they possibly?
They already have trouble, and that's part of the reason that the wealthy pay an fairly low share of their taxes, because we don't have audits of people who are extremely wealthy. The wealthy are also able to take advantage.
It's Alexis Goldstein. Remember Holdenstein from way in the back, way in the second congressional hearing. Wow, can you remember her? Crazy.
Of a lot of complex things like proprietorships or partnerships that don't have the same level of sort of, there's a tax gap, right, between the amount that people actually owe and they actually pay. And Joe, you mentioned W-2 earners. Those people pay 99% of the taxes that they owe. But wealthier people on the higher end of the spectrum, like Jeff Bezos and the Elon Musk of the world, take advantage of these more complicated things in order to do essentially tax evasion.
So here's one of the coolest things that you can remember is that the more money you make, the more knowledge you unlock, which is already free on the internet, and the more money you save on taxes. So it's actually a parabola. The amount of people that are paying the most taxes relative to their income are the middle class. So you go here, which is why people like to say the middle class is screwed, right? But relative to your income, so this is why understanding a chart is really important. So this is the amount of money that you spend relative taxed. How about just valid taxable dollars relative to income, okay? And then this is the axis of how much money you make. All right. The more money you make, the more things you'll realize is that, oh, I can buy a property, depreciate 72 parts of it in a year, and then if it's a multi-million-dollar property, I just saved hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. And then I could also take a stock like GME, instead of selling it and paying taxes on it, donate it to a nonprofit of which I'm on the board of, and then write off my own taxes that way too. Or better yet, have someone draw a painting for me, have a third-party person come in and evaluate how much that painting's worth, and then donate it to my nonprofit, in which case I get to write off those taxes as well. There are so many ways that you can write off taxes, and it should make you angry, because it's free knowledge that you probably aren't taking advantage of.
And I think what's interesting about this segment is less people are paying taxes because a lot of people lost their jobs. And I don't really understand the hand-wringing around unemployed people not paying their fair share of taxes when during the pandemic we've seen a huge amount of wealth accumulate in the likes of, the Jeff Bezoses of the world, who has readily admitted that his wealth has allowed him to shoot himself into space like some kind of space cowboy because of the people
I knew that someone's not going to understand this chart. So Jordan says, the rich pay the most money. What are you saying? Yes, you're right. But this is relative to your income. All right. You're looking at a higher tax bracket, but many, many more ways to save money on your taxes, which is why millionaires often sometimes end up paying no money in taxes, especially if they can claim a bunch of losses.
Working hard in his warehouses, getting injured at a higher rate than everybody else. And I think what's really unfair here is that people like Elon Musk pay a lower rate of taxes on their capital gains on their Dogecoin trading than a janitor who's getting up every day and having a higher risk of exposure to COVID does on their wages.
Absolutely. There you go. It's the cost of being alive right now. You could easily reduce it to zero if all you do is make money on Dogecoin.
That's what's really unfair about taxation in this country.
What are you advocating, Alexis? Are you a wealth tax proponent? Do you think that's...
What are you advocating?
Would be a good address this, because look at these numbers, right? We have the top 1% pay 27% of the taxes, but that's still lower than their overall wealth. The top 1% have about 40% of the wealth. The top 20% pay 78% of their taxes, but the top 20% own 90% of the wealth. So they're still underpaying relative to their wealth. They're underpaying because, like Joe, as you said, the IRS is underfunded. They can't do audits. They don't want to bother with wealthy people with very rich attorneys who can fight them for many, many years. And that's not fair. And I think a wealth tax would go a long way in helping to even it out a little bit for those with W-2 earners who are paying all of their taxes and not using things like, cryptocurrency trading, sole proprietorships, partnerships in order to evade their taxes.
There's a lot to unpack on some of the things you're saying, Alexa. The segments, I don't think long enough, but
This guy just said Alexa, which is not her name. And then he's like, I was not briefed about her position. It seems like she's trying to change the system, and I don't like that.
The 10% and 1% numbers, you're talking about the tax rates, I think, that they're paying, not the total amount, because the top 10% pay, what, 70-80% of the total tax bill for the country. They may have accrued wealth, but someone had, wealth is, especially in I've always pointed out that if you're in a zero interest rate environment, for whatever reason, you're going to have an easy Fed, and anyone who owns assets just, in spite of themselves,
7% of people don't own any assets. They don't own any stock market assets. They don't have exposure, right? So yes, it's easy for people who have stock market assets, but it's not easy for the wage workers, the W-2 earners, whose wages are not rising, right? They're all going out to shareholders. They're all going out via dividends, and I don't think that that's fair.
Like I said, Anthony, a lot to unpack there. Where do you want to start?
Well, I thought he got her name wrong so bad that he called her Anthony. Oh no. Let's see.
I mean, the first thing I would say to Alexa, she's right about the middle class. Why don't we just eliminate taxes on them up to $100,000? You can implement that VAT.
Wait, this is Scaramucci. I was like, Anthony. His face looks familiar.
And then along the supply chain, everybody gets taxed, and it gets taxed reasonably fairly at the high end because that's where the consumption's being done. And then on the corporations, I would say these small businesses shouldn't be taxed at all, up to $1 million. Look at what Shopify just did, Joe. We want to encourage.
Oh, wonderful. The mooch. The mooch. He's like, small businesses shouldn't be taxed at all. I would like to start my own small business and not be taxed at all. Thank you very much. Hey, the mooch said it.
Commerce and growth and capital activity. And what I would say to the people listening on the left, the money's not in a swimming pool in the backyard, guys, in $100 bills. It's in businesses all over the country, growing jobs and increasing innovation. If you want America to be the bedrock of tech.
If your money was in the swimming pool and you're floating in it, there shouldn't be anything inherently wrong with that. If you're making it off of backs of people who are inherently worse off because of the situation you've created, such as the swimming pool worth of money that Ken Griffin is swimming in right now, then that is something wrong with it, right? It's not about where you're keeping the money. If you made the money in the right way, you can swim in it. I shouldn't have to persecute you for doing what you want to do with your money. But the fact of the matter is, he's trying to make the argument that this money is returning back to where it should be, piecemeal, from it being taken disproportionately from the people who should actually be paying. Well, that's the main point. Thank you. I think this was a really enlightening conversation. I think a couple of us wrinkled a brain cell or two. Isn't that nice? It doesn't matter if you've hardened your understanding of what you think. It doesn't matter if you've changed it. At the point is, a lot of people that were not part of this conversation didn't even know it was happening. And now you guys are part of it. That's the most important piece. Boom. Hector is giving the coffee in the morning. Someone noticed that. Hector, best friend, roommate, coffee in the morning. Oh. Twist Montana wants zero pay for legislators. If you guys watch that new Rick and Morty edgy scene where the President of the United States, it's that turkey Thanksgiving special in the middle of the summer. But it was that scene where Rick says, government is just a job appointment program for the politicians who create them. Edgy. Edgelord. But you know, there you go. That's an argument. Is Marge gonna call Ken today, says Nepal? Oh, actually, no, wait. You're pronouncing Nepal, right? Yeah, long time. Sorry, been at work, Andrew. How you been? Good. There we go. This is good. Jonathan White says, good clip. I enjoyed it. I like Alexa. She does so much as a personal assistant, you know? In everyone's home. GL says, I work a regular job. It's worked so far. You can ask a lot of people and they'll say the same thing. It's like buying and holding. You don't pay taxes on what you hold, but it gains more value. Woo. Boy, oh boy. Well, today has been absolutely epic sauce with yours truly and Professor Meatball. Where is he? Oh, here he is. Oh, here we go. This message is from Professor Meatball. Thank you guys for being part of the show. I cannot emphasize this more, is that I'm proud every day to be part of the Moon Platoon. I'm proud each day that you guys are willing to be part of this community of people who are doing a thing or two about the world that is financially about to turn on a heel. The financial revolution that's coming once in a lifetime, and you guys are part of it. I want to shout out to the people who have been loyal patrons and joined on the YouTube community for the longest time. You can know which ones they are because they have the longest badges, and they've been here supporting the show for a really long time. Thank you guys. Without you guys, the show would not be possible. I want you to also be able to take a look at repping the Moon Platoon right here. You guys can grab some Moon Platoon swag. We need more Y-Axis AMC shirts. AMC and GME and Meatball and Andrew Mo Money. We got the cartoon hoodies right here, the True Friends, and we got some mugs as well. If you guys like this show, make sure to drop a like. If I wrinkled a brain cell, if I gave you guys a little bit of a financial insight that you guys didn't have before, I'd recommend a quick bell tap and a subscribe. And then finally, the last thing I'll prescribe is that you guys leave a comment after this video is over. Check out 20% off on Lux Algo. Check out the 2 free stocks on Webull, 4 free stocks on Moo. And for now, make sure that you guys catch that $250 of free Bitcoin on BlockFi. I'll catch you guys in the money. LFG. Peace. LFG. Oh man, what a day. What a good stream. Wouldn't you say so? You wanna get some shawarma? You wanna get some shawarma, Meatball? He can't eat shawarma, he's a dog.